text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Boost Kid Essentials Nutritionally Complete Drink, providing your picky eater with essential nutrition and great taste in one drink. Visit us at kidessentials.com. To make sure your kids eat healthy, follow the 5-a-day plan. Serve 3 servings of vegetables and 2 servings of fruit daily. Remember, a serving could just mean a piece of fruit or a half cup of veggies. If your kids are picky eaters, ask a nutritionist about other sources. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and we're here tonight with you, hopefully exposing you to some ideas you may not have heard of before. We're going to expose you to the ideas of liberty, and we want to hear from you. We want to hear your questions. We want to hear your thoughts on the news of the day. We want your thoughts on Washington. We want to know what's going on in your hometown. It doesn't matter. This is radio you control. If you don't like what we're talking about, give us a call and change us, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733, or call us using the Twitch app. The Discord app. Why do I want to keep saying that? There's just too many apps. This whole world has just gone app-centric. But I like Discord, discord.lrn.fm. When you call in, you're going to sound like you're right here. But somebody who is not using Discord, he is using one of our call-in lines, is Penguin out of Virginia. Penguin, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, hey, it's Mortified Penguin calling from Virginia. I can't call in Discord right now. But anyways, I'm calling you over the old-fashioned way. I wanted to talk about... Walaikum salam, brother. How you doing?
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, excellent host combo, by the way, today.
We try to keep...
Excellent
we're gonna
host combo.
Mixing it up.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I was calling to talk about conservatives and the wall, Trump's wall, and the southern border. Okay. And to me, the whole thing, well, I don't know if you hop into the Discord, you'll notice my nickname is The Wall Equals Communism, and I do see it as basically communism, and I see conservatives as, and this is, I mean, I'd be in a little bit...
Hold on. You can't say the wall is communist. It's not like there was ever a wall between communism and never mind. Yeah, they kind of had a famous wall, didn't they?
I used to have a piece of it.
Did you?
Yeah, when I was in
I've seen that.
When I was in 5th grade, one of the girls that was in our class was living with her grandmother because her mom and dad were in Germany, and they were there when the wall was torn down, and they brought a bag full of chips of the wall and handed them out to us like on the day that we left for Christmas break.
Yeah, that's very cool.
A little chip with like some blue spray paint on it.
I remember watching the news. It was several days. It wasn't people act like one day. On April 4th, the wall fell down.
4th grade.
It was a slow build up, and but we were just wondering if it would really happen. Would this really, really happen? And it did. But go ahead, Penguin.
Yeah, I don't remember that. My first memory was actually the Gulf War. Operation Desert Storm, but I was going to say, the idea that this country is. I mean, let's take out our modern concept of states and the Westphalian system. I get that nation states exist and have borders, but if you really look at it, you could easily say this collective property argument, that this country is our collective property. So we have a right as citizens to erect a wall around it to keep other people out. I just think that's patently ridiculous, and it definitely has parallels with communism.
It's socialist nonsense.
Conservatism seems pretty darn communist to me. You have the concept of the real American sounds strikingly like the ideal workers, the proletariat.
Well, Mortified. My rule. I have a rule of thumb. Okay. if you need to get a right-winger to support communism, what you do is you invoke a prejudice that they have. So like national IDs, conservatives jumped right on the bandwagon for that because you have to save us from the scary Muslims, right? So there's one plank of communism.
And Mexicans and everybody else who doesn't look like us.
Then a national worker registry. Well, that's E-Verify. That's a national
Sure.
worker registry is what that is. And that's got to save our jobs from the scary, scary Mexicans. Same thing with a wall.
Right.
If you want a Republican to come out in favor of communism, just invoke some kind of a cultural or racial prejudice that they have, and boy, they'll be right there on it.
But this is why we're being played, and this is how blatantly we're being played. And conservatives and, you know, lifelong Republicans, do you ever stop and think about some of this? Does it ever cross your mind that, hold on, for a lot of reasons, a lot of these things that they're pushing, they just don't sound like...
The commies said they would do it. The commies in the 50s and the 60s said, we will convince you to do it to yourselves.
And they did. Mortified, go ahead.
Yeah, and they seem awfully bent on essentially planning our freedom if they do believe that this is a free country. And just the whole idea that there's I find there's a lot of parallels between the Marxism and the conservatism. Another one actually is, there is the Christian conservative element, but there's also this new, what I see is this new kind of moralism, this Puritanism, this divorce from religious practice, and this new social conservatism. It's just straight out of the Marxist playbook. They're very they have that same element, and their kind of authoritarian ideology. So you just go down the list. I'm always thinking of more parallels between this new conservatism and communism, and it's funny because they seem to say they hate communism so much.
Absolutely, and thank you for the call, Mortified Penguin.
Yep.
I'll just add that the apparent hatred of communism. My understanding is when Leon Trotsky got booted out of the Soviet Union, a lot of Trotskyites came over to the U.S. and that's where what we know today as neoconservatism came up, and that's why people like Bill Kristol and I forget what's the National Review,
Buckley,
Buckley, and so it's like a controlled opposition, right? They make it look like they're against communism when really they're just in favor of their own brand of communism.
Yeah, and I got to ask, I know we've got some probably a good conservative truck driver, driving home, listening to the show tonight, probably has some strong feelings about us insinuating that conservatives in Washington are absolutely acting like socialists, like communists. How does this sit with your worldview? This should bother you. 855, 450 free.
America will never be socialist.
Except
I'm going to go out here and use eminent domain to take people's private property to use the government to build a wall on an imaginary line created by government.
So I have a nice place to retire with my Social Security, my Medicare, my Medicaid. I want all the people I don't like to stay away while I enjoy my federally provided retirement. And it's nuts.
Don't forget my federally provided protection and my state provided protection as well.
Oh yeah. And again, as we look at these things,
but I hate socialism.
Right. I hate socialism, but I love all the programs, the socialist programs that my favorite politicians, the politicians that wear the right color shirt, because we got Team Red and Team Blue. How does that sit with you at home? I mean, really? How can you sit back and listen to Trump say this will not be a socialist country when everywhere you look you see socialist programs?
Well, in that same speech, he said, what was it? Pre-existing conditions are going to be covered. He said that women are going to get maternal leave,
paid family leave.
Okay, so let's break down these. We just threw a couple out there, and for people listening for the first time, they probably don't understand what's socialist about family leave.
They take money from you and give it to someone else.
Right.
That's socialism.
Okay, good.
I mean, if they really...
pick another one.
I'll just give an alternative, since we're just complaining. Yeah, I mean, if they really cared about, women being able to take care of, or just families in general being able to take care of their kids, they would, one, lower taxes for lower and middle, or just lower taxes in general, and also quit... inflating the currency through the Federal Reserve, right? It used to be a family was you used to be able to take care of a family of like 2 to however many kids on just one income, and then because of many reasons too, right? Like a lot of women go into the workforce and everything. More
you weren't around then, but it was 3+ kids. 3+ kids. Every family was kind of 3+ kids.
And then they devalued many things happened, but part of it was they devalued the currency so much through the Federal Reserve that now both parents have to work.
Yes.
And it's like a positive feedback loop. Both the parents are working, then they send the kids to government schools. It gets indoctrinated. It's a perfect takeover plan.
That was women's liberation that did that. And women were tired of staying home, and they wanted to get out into the workforce.
Because working is so much more fun than taking care of kids.
855-450 free. If you want to take part, you want to call us on the carpet, tell us where we're wrong. Tell us what we have wrong about this, as we call people in Washington, including Donald Trump, a socialist.
Well, and one thing I'm glad you added earlier the caveat that conservatives in Washington, because the truck driver you mentioned, the proverbial truck driver,
sure.
and most people call themselves conservatives. I mean, I doubt they'd be behind any of this. And if you would sit them down and explain the whole picture as to why it's these so-called conservatives are pushing communism, they'd understand and be for freedom. But we have this left-right paradigm that gives people only a partial view of what's going on.
Absolutely, and that's what we're here to do. We're here to throw it in your face, and we're here to talk about it and explain it. And some of these things we're going to change your mind on, some of these things we aren't, but in the end, we want you to call 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
Gold is a better way. Gold is a better way. Gold is a betterway.com. Imagine doing business with a company that seeks to add massive value before asking for your business. Hi, my name's Adam Barata. I'm the co-owner of Advantage Gold and the author of the now national best-selling book, Gold is a Better Way. This book may not be for you, but if you're like most people, you'll be blown away when you learn why gold is set to soar to over $10,000. And as a bonus for hitting the bestsellers list, I've been gifted 250 copies from my publisher. If you have an IRA or 401k with over $100,000, I want to send you a copy of the national best-selling book. You can buy it on Amazon or go to Barnes & Noble or be among the first 250 people to reply. Just text the word bestseller to 49776. That's bestseller to 49776 to claim your free national best-selling book now. That's the word bestseller to 49776. We promise to add massive value before ever asking for your business. Just text the word bestseller to 49776.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your Liberty Beat for Wednesday, February 6, 2019. Gold opened today at $1,314. Silver opened at $15.74. And Bitcoin is trading around $3,365. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, peace activists with the group Code Pink arrived at the home of National Security Advisor John Bolton early Tuesday morning. to deliver a symbolic indictment for his participation in war crimes against the people of Venezuela, Palestine, Iran, and Iraq.
We, the people, call you a war criminal, and we call on the International Criminal Court to begin a case against you, John Bolton.
According to the Mind Unleashed, Bolton is a notorious neoconservative who held various positions under former presidents Ronald Reagan, George H.W. Bush, and George W. Bush, before being tapped by President Donald Trump. As one of Trump's top advisors on foreign policy issues, Bolton has played a key role in the current administration's decisions, from ditching the Iran nuclear deal last summer to pushing for regime change in Venezuela, an effort which is ongoing. With police on the scene, the group chanted, "Take John Bolton to The Hague," and John Bolton is a war criminal. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybraybotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% at checkout by using promo code SNLS. This is the Liberty Beat for Wednesday, February 6, 2019. Your news continues. Despite having touted a plan to withdraw U.S. troops from Syria as recently as Sunday, the U.S. military appears to be doing the complete opposite and is instead dramatically increasing the number of U.S. troops illegally stationed in northeastern Syria. Mint-Press News reports that a convoy of an estimated 150 trucks and armored vehicles entered northeastern Syria from Iraq Monday night, crossing the Samelka checkpoint into U.S.-occupied Syria. The convoy then arrived at a U.S. military logistics center in Syria's Karab Ishq in Sirin on Tuesday. Al-Mastar reported that footage of the convoy had also been posted on social media, showing generators, construction equipment, Humvees, and large trucks. The U.S. is currently occupying nearly 30% of Syrian territory, an area that contains the vast majority of Syria's oil and gas potential, as well as most of its freshwater resources. In a report published Tuesday night, just before President Trump began his State of the Union address, the Washington Post revealed it has discovered a document where 2020 Democratic presidential contender Elizabeth Warren, who was exposed by a DNA test that backfired late last year for having a negligible amount of Native American heritage, listed her race as American Indian on a registration card on the Texas State Bar in the mid-1980s. The card lists Warren's name, gender, and address for the University of Texas Law School in Austin, where she was working at the time. On the line for race, Warren wrote American Indian. Meanwhile, lines for national origin and physical handicap were left blank. As the Washington Post report explains, the card is significant because for the first time it shows that Warren directly claimed the identity. According to the report, the card, dated April 1986, is the first document to surface showing Warren claiming Native American heritage in her own handwriting. Her office did not deny the authenticity of the document. The newspaper obtained the card through an open records request. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for this Wednesday, February 6, 2019. Reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Well, folks, look who came crawling back to Pennington.
That's right, Jeff Statsky. Just 4 years after leaving town to make it as a songwriter and musician on the East Coast, Mr. Hot himself, Jeff Statsky, has returned. Locals are simply stunned that Mr. Ambition himself would deign to move back to Pennington, the town he once said, quote, wasn't big enough for his music. Tuffy's Bar is even planning a welcome home party for the would-be Bob Dylan.
We got a nice cushioned stool for his precious little East Coast ass.
Hey, Jeffy boy, we got the radio on. We're still waiting to hear that big song of yours. Where is it?
Local business owners say Statsky might have just as hard a time finding work here in Pennington as he did when he was trying to be a dainty little songsmith in Coolsville.
Oh, sure, I could set him up with a job, no sweat. Oh, wait, come to think of it, we don't have any openings right now for tambourine-shaking pansies who got dick-slapped by the big city.
This is the Onion News Network.
Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and we're coming to you live like we do every night, 365 days a year. We've been in here on Christmas. We've been in here on New Year's. We've been on Thanksgiving. We've left the families at home sometimes because we have a damn radio show to do, and we're going to do it because what's very important to us is spreading the ideas of liberty, and we want you to take part in that. This is radio you can control. If you don't like what we're talking about, change the subject, and we'll talk about that. 855-450-FREE or 855-450-3733, or hit us up on Discord at discord.lrn.fm. You can listen to us on your local radio station. If you can't hear us where you're at, if you're watching us on the internet or listening to us on the internet or via Discord or Twitch or one of those, talk to your local program manager and see if you can get us on your station. We're almost up to 200 affiliates coast to coast. We've got affiliates from Alaska to DC, from Guam and via satellite to places like Zimbabwe. We put it out there, and we want the ideas of liberty to be heard. And before I go on, I did want to tell you a little bit about Bitcoin.com. Bitcoin.com is your premier source for everything Bitcoin related. Bitcoin.com can help you choose a Bitcoin wallet, buy Bitcoin, and show you where you can spend your Bitcoin. You can also read the latest news or engage with the community on the Bitcoin.com forums. Learn more at Bitcoin.com. So, young Vincent. Again, we're going to refer to Vincent tonight only, as far as I know, as young Vincent, because he will soon be 21. Not the
He'll young. He'll still be young Vincent.
He will, I know that.
I got kids almost as old as him.
That's one thing about ages is you're never going to catch up with me. You know, I'm always going to have you by like
always going to be a youngin.
34, 35 years on you. So that's just how it works. But you've been bringing us a story from this was the New York Times?
Yes.
Yeah, New York Times, titled Senate Passes Bill That Rebukes Trump and Opposes Israeli Boycott. So why don't you bring us up to date on what we've only gone into this thing, a couple paragraphs. Basically, the Senate overwhelmingly approving
77 to 23.
Yeah, that's pretty much overwhelming. A Middle East policy on Tuesday that included a rebuke to President Trump over his withdrawal of troops from Syria and Afghanistan, and a contested measure to allow state and municipal governments to punish companies that boycott, divest from, or place sanctions on Israel. That's kind of brings us back to speed. Where are we at now?
So they have a quote from Senator Mitch McConnell of Kentucky, the majority leader. This represents the broad consensus of his body about our nation's responsibilities as an ally and a partner, Senator Mitch McConnell of Kentucky, the majority leader, said on Tuesday. But the late inclusions of the anti-boycott, divest, and sanction, or anti-BDS provision, and an amendment by Mr. McConnell reproaching the president for a, quote, precipitous withdrawal of troops from Syria and Afghanistan raised some concerns in both parties. The measure opposing the Israel boycott, drafted by Senators Marco Rubio, Republican of Florida, and Joe Manchin III, Democrat of West Virginia, appeared to be calculated in part to drive a wedge between Israel supporters in the upper echelon of the Democrat Party and a younger activist wing more willing to challenge the unconditional American support of a Jewish state. Senate Democrats mulling presidential runs recoiled at the McConnell amendment, making a rare alliance with Mr. Trump as they declared it was time for American troops to come home from Afghanistan, the longest war in the nation's history.
Oh, my God. So the AP thought it was a headline that Trump said 19 years instead of 18 years that we've been in Afghanistan.
Oh,
Whoa,
that
was
his
presses.
That was the big problem with the statement. Oh my God.
Yeah, they were like, we fact checked the State of the Union address, and it was the headline, you know, like Trump misstates. Trump
long?
exaggerates 1 year. Trump exaggerates length of U.S. Afghan involvement. It's like, bro, 19 years, it's been 18 years, okay?
It's well within the margin of error.
I'm sorry.
It is. The long and the short of it is we've been over there fighting a war on terror, I guess.
We've been there so long that I have children. I have 7 of my 8 children have never known a world where we were not bombing Afghanistan.
Can you imagine that? And I don't know how many people ever really think of it in those terms, that there is a whole generation coming out.
I have a 17-year-old. She's a senior in high school, and she has never known a world where we were not bombing Afghanistan.
Right. And more to the point is, do you want a world where your children are raised, God help us, maybe from cradle to grave, with your country never having a period of peace? And you get that coming from a veteran. I mean, I was in the military. Wars are not good things. We should not seek these things out. And we found one in 2001 that it just keeps on giving and giving and giving. And remember what Eisenhower said. Beware the military-industrial complex.
He got snowed by them while he was in office. That's why.
Yeah.
Is he was warning the people on his way out. Like, look, these people duped me.
Yeah.
And this is what they're going to do to the American public if you aren't careful. And the American public was like, look at the squirrel.
Well, a lot of people, it was the 50s. Things were rather idyllic. Heck, we had Ike.
Well, they had the United Nations, right? War is illegal.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything was gonna be a better world. And you've got a bunch of people. You've got a bunch of people in power with a lot of money sitting there going, yeah, but that just doesn't really sound very profitable. And we might need to tweak U.S. foreign policy just a little bit.
That's another reason I'm convinced that part of the American government is so supportive of Israel, is because it creates a permanent welfare warfare state. You create, so like when you saw everyone that's seen Economic Hitman, where they go in and they create problems and then they give them aid. And then the aid creates a permanent welfare state, because the aid creates debt, which creates, we're just going to take your resources, and now you're a permanent. Now our taxpayers in our country will send you aid every year, and you're just a permanent welfare state. Israel is a permanent welfare state as well, even though they've got like the 6th largest economy in the world, and they're like the 3rd largest weapons manufacturers in the world. We still send them billions of dollars a year in what they call surplus weapons.
Right.
And we send them billions of dollars a year that connected to the money is we have to spend at least this much of this money on weapons from companies in the U.S.
Right.
So it's corporate welfare. And as long as the Israeli-Palestinian conflict exists,
right,
it is a permanent source of corporate welfare. It doesn't matter if America is at peace. We will always have this permanent little spot where Lockheed and Boeing can make a few dollars and not go out of business.
Right, but you got to look at the Pentagon budgets. You got to look at, but you can't look at the Pentagon budgets. You can't see, you cannot see where the money goes, because this is all hidden. This is things that we can't talk about. For the first time, they allowed us to audit the Pentagon. That went well. $21 trillion they couldn't find. They couldn't figure out where it went. $21 trillion.
Well, I mean, they pay $21,000 for a friggin' toilet seat.
I know.
I mean,
I'll share one story. I was in the military. I worked in communications, and we had one very expensive piece of equipment. It was rack-based, rack-mounted, and I can't tell you what it did, but it was pretty freaking cool for this time. This is the early 80s. And if we needed to order another one of those, it was almost $2 million for this one rack of equipment.
Mm-hmm.
So we had some planned expansions, and we were going to put in another cabinet. We weren't going to populate it yet. It was just going to be an empty rack. And we checked into the price to see how much that would be. It would be almost $2 million. So whether the cabinet came full of very expensive equipment or it came empty rack, meaning made out of nothing but sheets of metal, it was the same price, and the U.S. government was happy to pay for it. $855, $450 free.
It's not their money.
Give us a call. Let us know what you think. Free Talk Live.
Smart Cash is a peer-to-peer digital currency that is fast, secure, and easy to use. Smart Cash also features smart rewards, a price stabilization mechanism, and a way to encourage long-term holding. Long-term holders are key to the project's success. You can earn smart rewards on any address for which you hold the private keys, which holds at least 1,000 smart for 1 month and does not make any outgoing transactions during that time. Smart rewards are distributed every 47,500 blocks to all eligible addresses. Learn more at smartcash.cc.
Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet at your cash register, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.global, drop your personal crypto wallet addresses in our setup page, and then load our app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at AnyPay.global. That's AnyPay.global.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and we're coming to you live tonight like we come to you live every night. 855 450 free, and that is free as in freedom. I don't have anything that goes with liberty, but that's really what we want to talk about. We want to talk about how we get back to a society where we have liberty in our lives, and it's certainly not through the path we are taking with our government right now. But one thing that does help with liberty is financial liberty and doing business the way you want to do business, and that can be done with AnyPay. Do you operate a retail business or are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It has never been easier thanks to AnyPay.global. There's no paperwork approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet at your cash register, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.global, drop your personal crypto wallet addresses in our setup page, and then load our app, and that's it. You're accepting cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now with AnyPay.global. And we're going to quickly go to the phones where we have Tom from New Hampshire who wants to talk about the war on drugs. Tom, you're on Free Talk Live.
First of all, you say that we have been fighting a war or bombing Afghanistan. I have not been bombing Afghanistan. I understand you're a veteran, but if you haven't been bombing Afghanistan, it's better to speak of it as they are bombing Afghanistan and not we.
Well, you're funding it.
Yeah, unfortunately, some of my money has gone to it.
Well, it's involuntary. I mean, like if we
not through my choice. But I understand your point of view, Tom. I certainly do. So go ahead with your question.
It's about the war on drugs. Okay, a lot of people keep voting against libertarian candidates, and a lot of they keep voting against the candidates who want to legalize drugs. A lot of politicians want to be tough on drugs in order to win elections. And on Monday, because of them, a state trooper down in Virginia chose to get himself gunned down in a drug raid. And the blood of that cop, of course, he was free to turn in his badge instead and go get a job and work for a living. So it is his own fault that, he was breaking and entering into a home in Cumberland County, Virginia, when he could have been out looking for a real job and working for a living.
Was he serving a warrant?
Yeah. But,
okay. Against somebody who...
Are you talking about the no-knock raid where all those people were killed?
That wasn't in Virginia, but...
Oh, okay, that was Texas.
Yes.
That was Texas, and that was not this week. That was last week's drug raid where 2 innocent people were brutally murdered. And this one innocent person was brutally murdered, and one of the intruders was shot and killed. And the thing is, if you vote for candidates who don't want to legalize drugs, you're not pulling the trigger, but you're pulling the lever. You did not defend liberty as best you could with ballots, and so the drug dealers are doing what they can to resist law enforcement to defend their rights by using bullets.
Tom, let me flip this around here. A lot of people out there. I mean, a lot of people have raised kids since the 60s and the 70s, and they have been told since 1971, 1972 that drugs are bad. And if you want to defeat drugs, then you have to enforce them. You have to enforce them out of existence. How do you respond to that? What is your argument to those people that have been raised? No, I'm telling you, people have been raised with this. Go ahead.
You don't have to buy any, and you don't have to let your children buy any. And if they're being pushed to do drugs at school, then that's another reason to provide school choice by eliminating public schools.
It's good answers.
The point, a very important point to make, is that at the funeral, inside the church where you got the family and the clergy and maybe some altar boys and choir girls, a rather harmless lot there, right outside the building, typically there's going to be hundreds and hundreds of enemy officers standing at attention right out in the street, right out in the open. They're not wearing helmets. There's no innocent people interspersed among them. That's this Saturday at 11 a.m. right outside the Chilhowie Christian Church in Chilhowie, Virginia. Lots and lots of cops standing out in the street that aren't wearing helmets.
I don't even want to know what you're advocating here.
I didn't advocate anything. I'm just mentioning what happened.
You're just pointing it out.
I didn't advocate anything now, did I?
Well, Tom, I do appreciate your call. That's interesting, though, and sadly, I mean, most people have just never lived, like we were talking about how we have kids that have never lived without Afghanistan, but we have generation upon generation that's never lived without a war on drugs. And an interesting statistic, I think it's interesting, in 1972, the average rate of opioid addiction was about 1.7% across the population. Or it might have been that, or it might have been in percentage of people that...
Well, it's because it's 72, you say?
Yes.
Well, that's very heavily illegal then.
They were. And call it 1970, 71. If we fast forward to 2019, we see a rate of addiction across the entire population of about 1.7%. In other words, that number never changed. We have spent trillions of dollars in a war on drugs that doesn't work. It does not work, and you can make the United States have the largest prison population in the world. You can create a whole new industry called prisons for pay, prisons for hire, and you'll give lots of money to all sorts of contractors who come up with new and intrusive ways of...
We're creating jobs, Chris.
That's what it is. It is. It's a jobs program.
It is. It is a jobs program.
And that's basically it.
Go to Florida, and you'll see it's a jobs program.
So I wonder which way these prison for hire companies tend to vote.
You have certain... Democrat, actually.
Well, I'm sure the union shops do, but I'm sure for the hard on
Florida Department of Corrections,
right?
Most of them are like single black mothers. No joke. If you live in Ocala,
that's a real irony there.
Where the Marion County prison is, I used to live like 4 miles from that prison. I worked at a business that was right across the street from it. And I used to buy marijuana from a guy whose business was literally like right outside the fence.
It's the last place they'd look.
It was funny. That was 20 years ago, though.
Keep in mind, we can't keep drugs out of prisons, but you want to keep them off the street.
Yeah, I know. It's hilarious.
Go ahead. How's that working out for you?
Right. So, and what you see is these people that are going to work at the prison, and the people that you're seeing working at the prison are... in the uniform, they're single African American moms.
I hear you.
A lot of them.
Tons of them. We're going to go back to the phones, and we've got Sarah from New Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yes, to me, let's see, the sugary soda pop commercials and the tobacco cigarette
God, you're making
commercials.
me thirsty. Now you're making me want a cigarette. Keep going.
Well, to me, they're just about the same. We banned cigarette commercial. It's illegal.
Right.
They banned it from the TV. And now they're working on banning the sugary soda pop commercials.
Sarah, I never thought I'd say that, but I'm going to put you on hold, and we're going to get back to you right after this call, okay?
Okay.
Hold on. This is Chris with Free Talk Live.
This is George Norrie from Coast to Coast AM and History Channel's Ancient Aliens. We support the amazing energy, nutrition, and skincare products from Jeunesse. Jeunesse products are designed by leading doctors in their field with natural ingredients and even stem cell technology. These products help your body perform and look better. Shop Jeunesse at gcnlife.com or call 1-844-443-6637. gcnlife.com or 844-443-6637.
Do the letters IRS give you anxiety? I'm Dan Pilla. I've defended people from the IRS for more than 40 years. My book, How to Get Tax Amnesty, created the tax resolution industry and is responsible for helping hundreds of thousands of people. It can help you too. If you're a non-filer or facing IRS enforcement right now, your case is unique. You need real help, not cookie-cutter advice. My clients get my personal attention. Buy my book at danpilla.com and get a free consultation directly with me. That's danpilla.com. Let's start solving your tax problem right now.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. We're taking your calls at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Or through Discord. You can find that at discord.lrn.fm. But a lot of our calls come in just on the regular old 855 number, and we've been talking to Sarah. Sarah, you're back on with Free Talk Live. Sarah?
Yes, I feel that soda pop, sugary drinks are, just as dangerous or bad. I mean, not as dangerous as tobacco, but it's very harmful to our children.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So what? Seriously, I mean, so what? I didn't raise my son to drink lots of sugary drinks. I mean, we sort of allotted them. You could have one, basically because it turned him into a basket case and he'd be bouncing off the walls, and that's no fun when you're a parent. So,
that's correct.
Right? I certainly didn't want my 5-year-old running around the house with a pack of Marlboros, so we kind of did a no smoking thing too, where we didn't allow him to smoke. So why do I need laws that prohibit advertisers from trying to sell their products?
Well, the thing is, it's a harmful product. It is known to cause diabetes.
Sure. So have they said something about red meat too?
Well, I don't know. It depends on what kind of red meat. If you eat grass-fed cows with no hormones, it's fine for you.
Okay, but even that, doesn't that have a lot of saturated fats and things like that in it? I guess my point is, Sarah, is there's all sorts of things out there that I can make a choice not to eat or not to drink or not to smoke or all these things. I don't need government to tell me I shouldn't do these. Do you think that I need government to tell me these things?
Well, why are the soda pop companies, why are they pushing and shoving their garbage drinks onto people? And they're targeting ignoramus people. You could be a grown-up adult that are a parent that if they keep pushing the soda pop on you, you're going to feed it to your kids.
Do you consider,
you don't know any better.
Sarah, we talk a lot. Do you consider me an ignoramus?
I'm not talking about you.
No, I am, because it's important to me how people perceive me. Do you perceive me to be an ignoramus?
No, I mean you said you limited the soda pop to your children, but what about the ignorant parent?
Do you think I'm the only person out there that would actually think twice about these things? Vincent, you're obviously not a parent, because I'm not even sure if you've hit puberty yet.
Not a parent that I know of.
Not that you know of. But I would trust you to make those decisions. Will, I've seen how you shop. I mean, you feed your kids well. And I don't mean a lot of food. They might get a treat every once in a while, but there's a whole bunch of vegetables.
Yeah.
A couple times I've seen you shopping.
Broccoli, cauliflower, and I'm lucky that my kids eat that stuff. You know, like I have a kid who loves lima beans. I have kids who love broccoli and cauliflower. I have kids who like black-eyed peas and the green beans and the carrots and the corn, you know.
Right.
So I can feed them that kind of stuff. It's called being a parent. You know, my parents, they were parents, and they fed me like parents who cared about their kids. And then I had a brother-in-law who, you know, his 3 kids got a family-sized bag of potato chips, and that was dinner.
Yeah.
You know, so like it's not about what's on the TV. It's about who's doing the shopping.
Right. And I think you're going to get more through education and helping people, help your neighbors out. I mean, help teach them about what nutrition means. That's a good thing.
My kids
but coming down with a law that says you have to do this and you cannot advertise that, that's insanity, and it will never work. What it will do is it will cause more people to do the things that they're being told they can't do. Sarah, thank you for the call.
Every time we go grocery shopping, my kids ask for the peanut butter chocolate cereal. And every time we go grocery shopping, I tell them no. And we get something else. And it literally is every time that we go.
Right.
It's a fight that I'm willing to have every time that we go. You know,
they think they can wear you down.
It's not
happening. No, you're not going to do that.
But Chris, I'm glad you brought up the education part, though, because I was thinking, you know, before the break there, that if instead of advocating for the state to do something, to ban something, to pay someone to, if instead of doing that, all those advocates instead would spend that time and energy towards educating people, I think the world would be a lot better place.
Oh yeah, but that requires actual work, and this is where you kind of get, it's the armchair activist or the keyboard warrior, whatever you want to call it. And in the liberty community, there's tons of them. You know, I will sit up there and I will keyboard till I'm blue in the hands. But the reality is until you have an actual conversation with somebody, until you try to sell them on what you believe is right, that's the ultimate free market. And it doesn't need government, and it doesn't need legislation. What it needs is some thought, and you have to do that. Robert from Vermont, I think I know who this is. Robert, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey guys, how you doing?
We're good. How are you, Robert?
I'm doing fantastic. Hey, we recently got over the government shutdown, a couple weeks back, and I don't really think that was a bad thing at all. I think that we need to see another one of these government shutdowns.
I miss it.
A permanent one.
A permanent one. There we go. Can we? How long do we go? We went over a month. A month and 34 days, something like that. Let's try 2 months just to see what happens.
Well, I mean, being a person that's in the working world part-time here, I noticed that even with the government shutdown, that it didn't look like it was affecting anyone's life. I didn't see anybody out there running around with their heads cut off or anyone panicking. Everyone seemed to just kind of be just going on with life as if nothing else really happened.
Well, that's because all the welfare still had funding. In a little bit, if it had lasted a little bit longer, then the welfare would have run out, the food stamps would have run out, then you would have seen rioting in the streets.
Yeah, and that was a scare tactic I saw. People were saying, just think about it.
I hope it happens. This is a Band-Aid you're going to have to remove.
Oh, and it's the only way you're going to do it. You have to rip the Band-Aid off. I agree totally. Yeah. But people were saying, it's not going to be long until, I can't remember how it worked out, but it was like there was a series of welfare check payments like within the first week, and then another one hit 3 weeks later, but it had already been funded. So this big fear of, suddenly, people were not going to have food was, again, BS. When they talk about government shutdowns, first of all, they're talking about a percentage of people that are going to not get a paycheck because they work for the government, and that it's going to be some time before they get back on the regular pay, and most of them are going to get all their back pay. If you could manage your money like the government is always telling us we have to do, but they never do, then being interrupted for a paycheck or two should not be a life-altering issue. What else you got, Robert?
Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing another government shutdown, but I think we need to have it a little longer than that. What we had last time. I'm saying, how about 6 months this time?
I think it's a start.
Put the squeeze on a lot of these government agencies that are out there that are useless, like for instance, the DEA. What the hell do we need them for? DCYF, Child Protective Services.
Robert, you're struggling. You're struggling here, Robert. Here's the easiest way to do. When you want to talk about what government agencies you want to shut down, the easiest way is to start off with A. And then we cover all the agencies and all the groups that start with A, and then once we name all those, then we move on to B, and so on and so on.
And you might get your wish. Trump threatened to shut the government down if he doesn't get wall funding later this month.
Well, we can only hope. We can only
hope, and I will just end this call with saying thank you, President Trump, for shutting down the government, and please shut it down again, this time longer.
Thanks for the call, Robert. 855-450-FREE.
From the third letter of Captain Mark. The Crown's observation conditions us to be dishonest with ourselves. Therefore, constant surveillance produces a society of constant deception. Honest communication is the seed of civilized conduct. To deny us this seed is to deny us its fruits. But the Crown's primary objective is to stifle free thought itself, to make its subjects incapable of dissent. Seasoned pirates have always encrypted messages and codes and ciphers, so intercepted transmissions were incomprehensible. But today the Crown possesses advanced tools of pattern recognition that document, profile, and predict our every move. Today, piracy requires hailing frequencies completely invisible to the Crown. We are tired of poltergeists in the static. Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels, or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Anytime, any place, anywhere. Radio remains the most intimate of all forms of media. At home, at work, in the car, on smartphones. Over 90% of consumers still listen to radio every week. That makes choosing radio as a place to advertise your business one of the best decisions you can make. Email advertise@gcnlive.com and partner up with an experienced GCN representative. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
You may need this herbal tea for relief right away, so write this down. DRMILLERS clinic.com. If you take meds, then suffer stomach distress, constipation, indigestion, acid reflux, and bloating, and nothing else helps, get Dr. Miller's Holy Tea or Super Holy Tea, a cleansing, detoxifying herbal tea, now available at great rates direct from Dr. Miller's office. Call or click 888-660-7039 or DRMILLERS clinic.com.
According to attendees of a karaoke night at Charlie's Bar and Grill, a man 30 seconds into singing Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror better get his act together and get it together fast.
up from the get-go. Coming in late on that first line, singing totally off-key. He needs to shape up and get his head in the game pronto.
Honestly, he needs to get serious right now or get the f*** off the stage. I mean, what does he think this is? Living on a prayer?
Claiming that this is turning into a train wreck, eyewitnesses say they are embarrassed for the man who has missed several key words despite staring at the prompter the entire time.
You know, he could hit every last note for the remainder of the song, and I still don't know if that would be enough to turn this thing around.
Man in the mirror is the big leagues, so you better show up with your A-game.
This is the Onion News Network.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
We're live. This is Free Talk Live. We're live here tonight like we're live every night, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733, or hit us up on Discord. Discord, you can sound like you're right here in the studio with us. You can find that at discord.lrn.fm. And, of course, you can also watch us on Twitch. We have studio cams, so you can watch the show in action. God, we don't have Jazzy. No Jazzy cam tonight. Usually Jazzy, the studio dog, is appearing on Twitch, too. But you can find that at twitch.lrn.fm. And we're taking your calls tonight. My name is Chris.
My name is Vincent.
And I'm Will.
And we've been talking about lots of stuff tonight. But the one story we've been trying to work our way through has to do with the Senate passing a bill that rebukes Trump and opposes Israel boycotts. And Vincent has been telling us about that. Do you want to recap a little bit about what's going on?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yes, please.
Well, go ahead, recap.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You were letting me be the recapper.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
No, I like your recaps.
Oh, well, thank you. Okay, so it was, at first they got bipartisan support, but because it has like the accusation in there, or the implication that the Republicans are trying to split the Democrats with this bill between the pro-Israel old guard of the Democrat Party and then the anti-Israel, quote, it's a nuanced issue, new, I guess, young Turks, so to speak, and they and so Democrats also, so by, I guess, as response to that, Democrats then agreed with Trump, like I believe Bernie Sanders was mentioned, right, that agreed with Trump to that with pulling out of Afghanistan and Syria. So love him or hate him, Trump is certainly shaking things up in Washington.
He certainly has been shaking things up. Love him or hate him, the country's almost, it's tilted against Trump. I was going to say love him or hate him. I think it's something like 60% opposed, even 40% support.
1% of media.
CBS's poll after the State of the Union address showed like 64 favorability.
Are we talking about the same Donald Trump?
For the speech.
Oh,
for the speech.
Yeah.
And he was like all rainbows and puppies. It's like Ann Coulter tweeted out, gee, it's so difficult. Trump came out against child cancer, came out against the Holocaust, real hard issues, Trump, and real divisive stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, God. But that's what we have now. What we have is a polarized Washington. The idea that we could have civil discourse between Republicans and Democrats, that's a decade-old thing.
We have a president that represents the population of the country. I'm sorry, nobody really wants to admit the fact.
Oh, no. I think you're exactly right.
He's totally a representation of the greater culture of this country. Uninformed, opinionated, rude, crass, wants to be famous.
So what changed? Because it was not always like this.
Americans became obsessed with wanting to be famous.
You think that's it?
Something happened in the culture with reality TV where...
Now we're narrowing it down, okay.
Where, everybody got their opportunity. I mean, remember the I boy? Like, he got famous because they were mean to him because he was physically unattractive. And he got to be famous for a while. He got to be on Conan, and he got to be like an extra character on Conan for like 3 months.
What I find most disturbing about this, and I'm not disparaging your comment, but doesn't it just say how shallow we are as a species when, like, up until like the 60s and the 70s, where you had like your news shows, there were 3 of them, I think, and that's where people got their news, and there wasn't like a huge amount of spin in any direction. It just was kind of there. But then news became 24 hours a day.
Yep. It became entertainment.
It had to become entertainment because you had 24 hours of news. And let's face it, news is not the most exciting thing to watch. And the idea,
a pleb, if you're an erudite like myself, you're just obsessed with it.
Of course. But this was never really a thing. News came on at 6 o'clock, it came on at 7 o'clock, and it came on again at 10 or 11 or something like that. But now we're confronted by it 24 hours a day. And how do you fill those hours? The only way to make it more interesting, to get more viewers, is to sensationalize the news. The problem is we as humans, we've fallen for this hook, line, and sinker, and I really do think there is some similarity. Something happened that pushed us over the edge to where we quit talking civilly. That's a gone thing. I mean, when I was growing up, I remember my dad, who was a staunch Republican, telling me he was going to vote for a Democrat. And I didn't think anything of it. He's like, well, I like that guy.
Well, the shock jocks also had something to do with it. I think it's not, you can't just point and say that's the thing that did it.
No, of course not. It's many things.
I'm going to say Nixon was the beginning of it. The death of Kennedy, the end of Camelot, that whole thing was the beginning. And then from there, the society has just slowly been like the stitching has been plucked.
Just that one loose thread.
A little at a time, yeah.
Pulling at.
And they've used race, they've used gender. There's like 4 topics, and they just keep cycling them if you haven't noticed.
Sure.
Like when Obama was in office, everything was about race. Now Hillary got beat, so everything is about gender. Everything's misogyny. Right. Everything is how women are so oppressed in a society where the courts side with them 90% of the time.
Yeah. But then we don't get enough mileage out of that, so we have to, in that case, actually come up with new genders.
Yeah,
we have to come up with new genders so we can create victims out of that, and that's really what it comes down to. Who is the newest victim that we have to defend? And during all this bread and circuses, which is all it is, you're being asked to lend your support to one of 2 groups of people that pretty much say the same thing.
A false dichotomy.
Yeah,
it is.
You have centrist, you have like moderately centrist right-wing communists and ultra right-wing communists, and that's what you have here. I mean, that's your choices.
What do you think about that, America? Will just accused your politicians, probably some you really like, as either being moderate right-wing communists or extreme right-wing communists. Is there any real difference? And what does that make?
Ocasio-Cortez is the most moderate of the right-wing communists, because they're all, like, to me...
Oh, dear God.
Seriously, because to me, conservative means you like old ideas, right? Okay, well, there's nothing more conservative than preaching 150-year-old failed ideas. And that's what socialism is. It's a 150-year-old failed idea. Yeah. So she's not a progressive. Progressive is, I want new ideas. That's what progress is.
Right.
Progress is new. And what you're offering isn't progress. You're offering old, recycled ideas that we've already proven don't even work.
Right. But progressivism, with the dawn of the 20th century, I mean, they brought in new ideas. They wanted to take a scientific look at things. Here's one of the things that I know that Woodrow Wilson and Teddy Roosevelt were both big fans of, and that was eugenics. How can we get rid of some of these undesirable people? How can we work to breed them out?
Were those people. My ancestors were those people. Teddy Roosevelt literally came in and stole. Had it not been for the fact that my family got land in the Civil War,
right?
Our farm that was left there, would have been forcibly taken from us. My family came from Cades Cove, which is now a national park. And Teddy Roosevelt had this brilliant idea.
Right.
He went in and he confiscated everyone's farms by force, tore them all down, and then had the government build replicas.
Good thinking.
It was great.
And what a great make-work program, too.
Yeah, and that was Teddy Roosevelt progressivism, was to come into poor farming areas where you had dirt poor farmers who were on the verge of being sharecroppers, and kick them off their farms and turn them into sharecroppers. That was his wonderful grand plan for America, was create more poverty.
Right.
And that's what progressivism has really been doing ever since then.
And another one of those big ideas that the progressives were embracing was the miracle that is Russia. Mm-hmm. All the amazing things that are happening under communism. And they were saying these things while communism was inside becoming what communism does happen to be, and that is millions and millions of people dying. 855-450-FREE. We're going to be back, and we're going to be back talking about a couple different things, but we want to hear from you. 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
#1 international best-selling author Matthew David Hurtado's pain was simple. Lyme disease bankrupted him in 2009, watching bankers take everything from his family after building a 7-figure business from his couch. God called him to ministry to teach prosperity based on pain he could not tolerate in others' lives. IRS, creditors, car loans, debt. It's the Babylonian system, and you have to escape it before it's too late. Haven't you ever wanted to wake up from this nightmare? Matthew David's free quick study guide shows you what to do today to build lasting wealth in any economy. His discovery he made? It's all consciousness. Get Matthew's 7-figure quick study guide for clarity, certainty, and a proven strategy to build wealth once and for all. Visit escaperightnow.com. Do it now. It's free. escaperightnow.com for a prosperous future ahead with peace of mind. escaperightnow.com.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your Liberty Beat for Wednesday, February 6, 2019. Gold opened today at $1,314. Silver opened at $15.74. And Bitcoin is trading around $3,365. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, peace activists with the group Code Pink arrived at the home of National Security Advisor John Bolton early Tuesday morning to deliver a symbolic indictment for his participation in war crimes against the people of Venezuela, Palestine, Iran, and Iraq.
We, the people, call you a war criminal, and we call on the International Criminal Court to begin a case against you, John Bolton.
According to the Mind Unleashed, Bolton is a notorious neoconservative who held various positions under former Presidents Ronald Reagan, George H.W. Bush, and George W. Bush, before being tapped by President Donald Trump. As one of Trump's top advisors on foreign policy issues, Bolton has played a key role in the current administration's decisions, from ditching the Iran nuclear deal last summer to pushing for regime change in Venezuela, an effort which is ongoing. With police on the scene, the group chanted, "Take John Bolton to the Hague," and John Bolton is a war criminal. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% at checkout by using promo code SNLS. This is the Liberty Beat for Wednesday, February 6, 2019. Your news continues. Despite having touted a plan to withdraw U.S. troops from Syria as recently as Sunday, the U.S. military appears to be doing the complete opposite and is instead dramatically increasing the number of U.S. troops illegally stationed in northeastern Syria. Mint-Press News reports that a convoy of an estimated 150 trucks and armored vehicles entered northeastern Syria from Iraq Monday night, crossing the Samuka checkpoint into U.S.-occupied Syria. The convoy then arrived at a U.S. military logistics center in Syria's Karab Ishq in Sirin on Tuesday. Al-Mastar reported that footage of the convoy had also been posted on social media, showing generators, construction equipment, Humvees, and large trucks. The U.S. is currently occupying nearly 30% of Syrian territory, an area that contains the vast majority of Syria's oil and gas potential, as well as most of its freshwater resources. In a report published Tuesday night, just before President Trump began his State of the Union address, the Washington Post revealed it has discovered a document where 2020 Democratic presidential contender Elizabeth Warren, who was exposed by a DNA test that backfired late last year for having a negligible amount of Native American heritage, listed her race as American Indian on a registration card on a Texas state bar in the mid-1980s. The card lists Warren's name, gender, and address for the University of Texas Law School in Austin, where she was working at the time. On the line for race, Warren wrote American Indian. Meanwhile, lines for national origin and physical handicap were left blank. As the Washington Post report explains, the card is significant because for the first time it shows that Warren directly claimed the identity. According to the report, the card, dated April 1986, is the first document to surface showing Warren claiming Native American heritage in her own handwriting. Her office did not deny the authenticity of the document. The newspaper obtained the card through an open records request. Support for Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for this Wednesday, February 6, 2019. Reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
A new teen trend of walking wet and nude couldn't have caught on at a worse time, and a taxpayer is outraged. And lo, the Lord said unto the Israelites, Look unto the heavens, and you shall see a news review program to rival the greatest wonders of the earth. This is the Onion Week in Review. As a front of dense, frigid air and snow showers brought sub-zero temperatures to much of the country this week, Canton, Ohio residents noted that the blanketing of snow they had received created the illusion that their town was not a total shithole. Residents added that unlike its typical depressing reality, the snow-cloaked town actually looked halfway livable.
Canton is usually a miserable little dump, but you know when that first snow fell and covered everything in a layer of white powder? For about 5 minutes it was like not everything I saw depressed the living out of me.
Reports from locals also confirmed that for a brief period, the streets, parks, and buildings around them gave the surprising impression of not being a run-down, heartbreaking excuse for a hometown.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live in our third hour tonight, coming to you like we come to you every night, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. I'd say you can call in with our Discord line, which makes it sound like you're right here in the studio with us. You can find that at discord.lrn.fm, but we are having no love tonight with our Discord line, so we're going to be troubleshooting that and seeing if we can pick up some callers there. So far, no such luck. But you can also hear us by going to freetalklive.com. You'll find a list of different internet providers that share our podcast, so it's not listening to us live. But a lot of people like the podcast format. You can listen to us on satellite, KU band satellite in North and Central America, Galaxy 19, or in Sub-Saharan Africa. Yes, we cover Sub-Saharan Africa on SES 5. But this is radio you control. You don't like what we're talking about? Change the subject. We're happy to talk about it with you. Tonight in studio, you have myself, Chris.
Got Vincent.
And Will.
And we've been all over the board, which seems to be the standard phrase on this show.
Yeah.
We start off talking about one thing, and then we end up on something else. And that's why I enjoy doing this show. And I really like it when callers bring up something interesting. So what's on your mind? Give us a call. Again, 855-450-FREE. And young Vincent has been sharing a story about, I guess, sort of a rebuke from the Senate on Donald Trump and their thoughts on where foreign policy should be headed.
Well, not just their thoughts, their actions, or a bill to oppose boycotting, divesting investment from.
Now, does it oppose or criminalize?
Well, I think I should have used more appropriate language here. Yeah, it allows state governments and municipalities to punish it, to punish those who participate in it. So it's anti-BDS. That's what it's called, anti-BDS legislation.
So I am now a criminal if probably within months in Florida. Florida will quickly be passing local laws to criminalize BDS. I'm very certain of that.
Yeah.
Wasn't it great? The government's just, creating activism for you to do.
And let's recap what this means. Is they want to make it illegal for U.S. citizens and businesses
to boycott
the state of Israel,
or to divest from companies that they may be invested in. So
right. So if you own stock in, give me one,
Sabra Hummus.
Sabra Hummus, okay. Everybody's seen Sabra Hummus.
Yeah.
Right. It's in your grocery store.
Every grocery store.
Every grocery store has Sabra Hummus.
Yeah.
So if you own some stock, because if you're a guy like me and you see Sabra Hummus in every grocery store, you might think, well, that seems like it might not be a bad company to invest in. But I can't do that.
You can't sell those shares now.
It's Sabra for life. Yeah. I could not divest myself from this company. I have to.
In some states, it will eventually be criminalized. In Texas, it's already, if your house was blown down by the hurricane, you can't get any aid from the state that's available to fix your house if you won't sign an agreement that says that you will not boycott or divest.
Right. And this was a story we discussed, a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
It was a Muslim woman, I believe, who she was going for a job. In this case, she was a teacher, I believe.
School district for special
Yeah,
areas.
her school district had that as a clause. Now, Will happens to be a devout Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
I am not a devout Muslim. I'm not even really a devout Christian, but at least I was raised in the Christian church. But should government be telling me that my religious views need to reflect the U.S. government's foreign policy?
Well, it's not really even a religious view.
It is for some people.
Well, it could be for ethical reasons
yeah,
also.
it's
Israel's pretty much an apartheid.
Yeah, it's an ethical issue. It's not really a religious issue.
Well, call it however you want.
You know, and most of the Palestinians that I know, they don't see it as a religious issue outside of justice. You know, our property was unjustly taken through the use of violence. Therefore, we have a right to our property being returned to us.
Right.
And now we've got multiple generations down the line, you know, that have felt this way. So, I mean, that's an ethical position. That's not a religious position.
It is, but for a lot of people, they're going to equate it.
Language. A lot of first it was the PLO, and they were nationalists, and they were socialists, and they were secularists, and people didn't like them. Then they were like, well, what we'll do is we'll fund Hamas because they're the PLO, but they're also religious lunatics, and that will that'll help keep the secularist socialists from winning, and it'll weaken them. And what happened was the secular socialists lost altogether.
Right. So,
because religious fundamentalism gave an excuse and a justification through some of these whacked out sheikhs for the stupid things that people were doing.
Right.
So they're like, oh, so it's not a secular. We're all gonna go to heaven if we do this stupid stuff now. You know, it's not like it was before under Arafat, where it's like you just die and nothing happens. No secularism. We're gonna go with religious fundamentalism instead. And it was like even the Prime Minister of Israel was like, we kind of created Frankenstein's monster and don't know how to put it back in the box.
Well, they do, and there are a lot of reasons that they do this, and you know, we can speak of this in religious terms, or we can speak of it in foreign policy terms. I prefer to think of it as a real bastardization of our system. This is messing with markets. You can call it whatever you want, but in the end, when we move into a Middle Eastern country, or we start to supply whoever's fighting them, we're trying to topple them. We're trying to topple them, usually in a quest.
Israel and Palestine were funding both sides.
Well, they love to fight. So you fund both sides, then you always have conflict, and that's when you get people like John Perkins. Because I did want to mention this. Will, I think you briefly alluded to the Confessions of an Economic Hitman by John Perkins. I highly recommend this book, but he just kind of lays it out there about how large companies can use large governments to push the needle in their direction, and these guys don't have short time frames. You know, I've got into arguments with other hosts on this about Venezuela. If you're not familiar with what's going on in Venezuela, Venezuela is a social. It's socialist played by the handbook, and what you get is what comes out of socialism.
And we've been involved in Venezuela since the 70s.
Oh yeah, but what I'm saying is that even as we see things transpire over the last 2 or 3 years, you're not going to convince me that we didn't have our own economic hitmen over there pushing the needle, and sometimes pushing the needle to favor one side or the other. Maybe pushing socialism to destabilize it's an easy way to destabilize an economy. So it's been kind of crazy. And as we discuss picking sides between the Israelis and the Arabs, We are doing the same thing.
Well, again, the Israelis, the Israeli-Arab conflict is the health of the military-industrial complex. That's what it is. It's life support for the military-industrial complex.
You can always fall back on it.
The entire world can be at peace, and as long as we're going out of our way, as long as they keep Gaza as a full-time siege state.
Right.
It's modern siege warfare is what it is. And as long as that continues, then you're going to have a modern David and Goliath in reverse. Because in the old day, it was Bani Israel versus the Philistines. And today, it's the same thing, only Goliath is the one dropping hellfire missiles. And the David in this story is the 11-year-old Palestinian boy who's flying a kite with a piece of cotton tied to it set on fire. And that's his way of fighting back against Hellfire missiles and F-35 jets.
Right. And we know how that's going to go.
But they're the scary ones.
Right. Free Talk Live, 855-450 free. We invite your calls on these subjects, on other subjects.
Ike was such a sweet, lovable animal, and people would want to pet him, and they'd come up and they'd get close to him, and it would be this instant, oh! My dad didn't want to touch him. It's like, ooh, get the stinky dog away from me.
Even after we'd give her a bath, she would still stink.
Very stinky, both bad breath and bad gas. I asked the vet, and he said some dogs are just stinky.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
The digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
The ingredients convinced me that it was definitely worth trying. After about a week, he started smelling normal. My husband and I were really kind of astonished.
Dinovite is nutrition.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Smart Cash is a peer-to-peer digital currency that is fast, secure, and easy to use. Smart Cash is building a foundation that can support daily transactions for people everywhere. One feature that sets Smart Cash apart is the Smart Hive governance model and how the community can vote to fund the best projects with block rewards stored in the Smart Hive project treasury. Unlike other cryptocurrencies with voting systems, Smart Cash allows everyone to participate. One smart equals one vote. Learn more at smartcash.cc.
You want to know the 37 items you must have to survive a crisis? Then I've got some good news for you. Former CIA officer and New York Times best-selling author Jason Hansen is now giving listeners a free copy of his book, The Escape Bag Blueprint, 37 Items You Must Have to Survive a Crisis. You can claim your copy at freeescapebook.com. Don't delay. Jason reveals the guns, knives, flashlights, and water filters that could save your life in an economic collapse or grid-down event. Get your free book today, freeescapebook.com. freeescapebook.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And we're here to talk liberty. We're here to talk freedom. We're going to talk about what's going on in D.C., and occasionally we may have something good to say about D.C. It hasn't happened yet tonight, and it hasn't happened in recent memory, but I'm sure there are some things going on in D.C. that may be pro-liberty. I don't know. We'll keep looking out. But in the meantime, you might want to check out Anarchapulco. Ron Paul, Judge Napolitano, Doug Casey, Larkin Rose, and more of the biggest names in the liberty movement will be at the largest gathering of free-thinking voluntarists, libertarians, and ANCAPs in Acapulco, Mexico from February 14th to the 17th, 2019. You'll love the lineup of speakers discussing entrepreneurship, investments, politics, philosophy, health, sustainability, lifestyles, and personal relationships for 4 days among the sun and beaches of a world-class resort. And, of course, Free Talk Live will be there again. Go to anarchapulco.com and use code FTL to register and receive a discount. That's anarchapulco.com, code FTL. So I think we're going to hop right into the phones. And we have Johnson from Chattanooga. Johnson, you wanted to talk about abortion. You're on Free Talk Live.
I would just like your guys' opinion on the 9-month killing of the children. What do you guys think about abortion? That?
Can you still hear me? Yeah. You're really faint.
He wants to know our opinion of late-term abortion.
Yeah. So I'll take the first stab at this because it's always a tricky. It's a tricky situation. In libertarian thought, there's two schools of thoughts when it comes to abortion. Either the child has the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and if you abort a child, certainly doesn't have that. And the other one is that the parent, particularly the mother, has her right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And some libertarian scholars have even gone so far as to deem the fetus as sort of a freeloader, just along for the ride and eating off of the productivity of someone else, the mother. So, me personally,
well, yeah, you have the squatters theory, and then you have the child's consent theories. You need both. I follow the child's consent because there are two individuals, and both of them have to give their consent for something to happen. Right. And then the other school is that only the consent of the mother is needed, and basically that the baby is like a trespasser.
Right.
That you can eject through it,
even though she decided. Well, I mean, in most cases, she decided to put it in.
We're not going to talk. We're just going to ignore the
whole conception
decisions
that led to a pregnancy. Right. But that becomes part of the
topic, right?
Well, for me as a Muslim, it gets even more because you have 4 separate Sunni schools of thought, and they disagree on the ruling. All of them agree that after what they call the point of ensoulment, which is basically the end of the first trimester, that at that point the child has the same rights as any other individual. If it dies, you have to give it a name and a proper burial.
Okay.
But before that, only the Maliki school believes that only in the case of extreme threat to the mother's life is there allowed to be an abortion. The other schools of thought allow to varying degrees there to be an abortion up to the first trimester, and the analogy that's used is like crushing a date stone versus cutting down a tree. Like a fruitful tree.
Yeah.
But that's but none of them support abortion after what they call the point of ensoulment, because at that point it's no longer a developing thing. It's a human being with the same rights as anyone else. It deserves a name, a proper burial, and if you kill the child, then that child has rights, and someone will need to be punished. A dia will need to be paid. Something will need to be done.
Johnson?
So you're against 9-month abortion?
I don't know how this ever became a thing, honestly. The idea of like third trimester abortions, this sort of rules out the whole,
it's just a glob of cells.
Right.
Yeah.
And I say that as a...
Is that not murder? I mean, honestly,
Honestly, Johnson, I'm a dad, and my mom, my ex-wife, had a ton of problems with our son's pregnancy. It was, and what I'm getting to here is we were in there for sonograms, first trimester, second trimester, third trimester. I watched that kid grow up, and it wasn't when I saw, movement and I saw a heartbeat, that kind of freaked me out, and that sort of put me on one side of the abortion issue. And I can't look at a pregnant mom without seeing a living baby inside her. That's way it is. And when you talk about taking of a life, whether it's inside the womb or outside of the womb, it's still taking a life. So that's me, and I understand this is a divisive issue. I get it. What's your position?
Wouldn't that be like the NAFTA, non-aggression principle, would be pro-life, I would assume, because
there's two
that's not life.
That's what he was saying is there are two different arguments that fit in the non-aggression principle. People that follow the non-aggression principle.
Yeah, basically different people can explain it following either path, and that doesn't mean they're right. It doesn't, unless you subscribe to the idea that it's a mother's right to always choose. Maybe
if Derek J. is listening, he could call in and explain landlord's theory. I think that's what it's called, the landlord's theory. And basically what it is that a child is treated as an unwanted tenant in a rental property, basically, that the woman's womb is a rental property that she can choose who can be in it and who cannot. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the viewpoints, not my viewpoint. I don't think it's anyone in this room's viewpoint,
and
actually.
People wonder why. There's like, why aren't there more libertarians? And it's like,
because some of us have really dumb ideas, yes.
Right, but some of the issue is these are...
Sorry, I laughed at that. That was just amazing to me.
Yeah.
I laughed the first time I heard it too.
Yeah, and I still do. It's
I'm
just
nauseated.
it's. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I'm not to criticize whoever believes it, but I mean, for me, it's nauseating that people could like commoditize, it's a human life.
Right.
The Arabs say we laugh at the worst things.
I mean, if you either laugh or you cry, right? You'd rather laugh.
Hey, Johnson, thanks a lot for the call. 855-450-FREE. Give us a call. What's your position on the third term? Is that what they're calling it? Third term?
Late
term abortions. 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
Bacon lovers, we ship free. Try our amazing bacon. No refrigeration required. Proprietary value-added packaging provides 10-year shelf life and protects the leanest, thickest, center-cut, fully cooked bacon in America today. Ready to eat right from the pouch or warm and serve. Savory and delicious. Wholesale price for your everyday use. Order today at readytoeatbacon.com. readytoeatbacon.com. Anytime, any place, anywhere, radio remains the most intimate of all forms of media. At home, at work, in the car, on smartphones. Over 90% of consumers still listen to radio every week. That makes choosing radio as a place to advertise your business one of the best decisions you can make. Email advertise@gcnlive.com and partner up with an experienced GCN representative. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what the readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. freedomsphoenix.com, constantly providing the information, the real news about government policies, and the real relationship we all have with the coercive government. The real condition of the economy, innovations in technology, breakthroughs in energy, health, and computer science. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media. The corporate media, nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but now there's an alternative. freedomsphoenix.com. Constant news updates on the issues that affect your life in the most important ways. With liberty and property under constant attack, freedomsphoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda, and it encourages the participation of its readers. Go to freedomsphoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, phoenix.com. freedomsphoenix.com. The revolution between the ears has already happened.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit shiresociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at shiresociety.com. That's shiresociety.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855 450 free, bringing the ideas of freedom to you and to every listener out there. 855-450-3733. You can reach us, and you can let us know what's on your mind. And what's on my mind right now is Freedom's Phoenix. Freedom's Phoenix is a liberty-oriented news aggregation site. Do you want the newest and freshest stories and perspective on current events from those who value liberty? Freedom's Phoenix has it. Their daily dispatch is the best way to stay up to date on science, technology, historical findings, liberty news, government overspending, and the rise of the police state. Freedoms with an S, Phoenix.com. That's freedomsphoenix.com. So we've been all over the boards, but we're also trying to take your calls because we've had kind of loaded up phone lines all night long. David from New Mexico, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, first of all, Sarah may not be Sarah.
Okay. Why do you say that?
Might be an alias, because I was talking to one of our legislators, and we were talking about how I was arrested by NPR. But I was talking about single topic callers and mentioned Sarah and red light cameras. And this legislator said, "Oh, I got somebody who calls me about red light cameras all the time." And she said, but her name's not Sarah. And there can only be one person that would call regularly about red light cameras to a legislator.
Sarah O.C.? How do I say that? Sarah O.C.? I'm trying to...
Sarah O.C.?
I'm just trying to put AOC together with Sarah and trying to create a new conspiracy theory that our Sarah, who calls about traffic cameras, is really AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. No?
Yeah.
Nobody's buying it.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, David, what'd you call for?
I think AOC is smarter than Sarah.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think so, too. Go ahead, David.
Pretty low bar.
Right.
They would make entertaining Siamese twins.
Well, and she works for her money, too. It might be, through stolen taxpayer dollars, but at least she works and doesn't just sit around all day. Maybe it'd be better for the country and Congress if she just sat around.
If anybody thinks it's easy to fill out all those forms for free government aid, it is a lot of work. And Sarah calls us, I think, at least once a year, sometimes twice a year, talking about how long she had to wait in lines and fill out many forms, and these things are not easy to get free money.
Exactly. I was calling to continue. I started discussing with you, Chris, when I think it was the first day that you were in the chair number 1 there, and I made the mistake of phrasing my point in a manner that I can. You jumped on it, and the conversation went a direction I didn't mean it to, so I wanted to continue that. And I kind of tied into you today. Earlier, you were talking about Uyghurs, and this kind of ties in. Nobody really thinks it's a bad thing when two groups of people combine their peoples to make an even larger country than their two separate countries. Generally speaking, people think of that as not a bad thing. They don't really think much negative about it,
right.
Generally speaking. But if when one group of people within a larger nation want to leave because they're a homogenous group of people, then there's all kinds of problem with that. Everybody has a problem with that, like in the case of Uyghurs. Now let me kind of sidestep again. What I had tried to call up about was I had made the mistake of saying, to get back to where we were, I said something like that the states exist at the leisure of the federal government.
Yes.
And which is, and as I will show, is true at this point, at the point in time that we are now. It's not, but what you keyed on was the inception at the beginning.
Right.
And you're correct that it was the other way around. However, it has, over time, and even at its inception, I guess it was partially true in that when the states agreed to be bound together by the documents
yes.
that they created.
In a compact of states, yes.
Yeah, they agreed to abide by certain minimum rights to the various parties, certain minimum rights, especially to regarding the people. And what we have...
Well, to be clear, I think they did that. They agreed that there were going to be certain limitations on the states, very few. And if you read the 9th and 10th Amendments, it's very clear that they weren't interested in creating every possible law at the federal level. Where the real teeth of that document show up is how much it limits government and how much it limits a central government. The problem is they quickly figured out that I don't think we really want to follow this, guys. And that's where you have the Federalists rise up and really push us away from the idea of a constitutional republic.
Got it. And here's thinking coming from the standpoint of an individual. here's where there is one of the many problems, is that generally speaking, we without defining we think of the states as more noble and sensitive to the needs of the individual person than the federal government. However, like especially it's probably, I think it's true in other states as well, but it is especially true in the state of New Mexico because of the history of the state of New Mexico having been founded by a homogenous people that came from Spain to Mexico and then up the Rio Grande River and were settled this state of New Mexico basically for hundreds of years before anybody else arrived. And so they kind of got set in their ways in a patron system, so to speak. And then we outsiders came in and tried to live here too. And the natives, meaning not the Indians, they'd already been pushed aside by the Spaniards. But the natives, being the Spaniards, don't really like, me being a whitey coming in here and demanding my rights too. And so in New Mexico, there's a situation where the state is actually less sensitive to the rights of the individual than the federal government. And that's where I was going with that. Yeah. In invoking the protections of the federal government, saying to the state of New Mexico that you exist at the pleasure of the United States, meaning that you're not following those minimum rules, regulations, laws that were ordained to protect the individual. You, the state of New Mexico, are violating those, as evidenced, by New Mexico is one of the states that has the federal government, the Department of Justice. It has taken over the Albuquerque Police Department, for example.
Yeah, David,
I
appreciate the call, and absolutely, I don't disagree with you. I think one of the key points there is when New Mexico was added to the Union, it was one of the last states, the 47th state, about 1910, 1912, somewhere in there. So after the Civil War, you have all these requirements that states include things in their constitution that swears their fealty to the idea of a central government. And conversely, if you look at some place like New Hampshire, which was one of the original 13, we have an article of revolution, Article 10 in the New Hampshire Constitution that says if government becomes too big, you have a moral obligation to throw it off. And
good luck with that.
Well, yeah, at the same time, we have an RSA that bans militias.
Saying that gets you put on an FBI watch list, though,
Just like that. I wonder if they keep just one watch list or if they have like 50 million different ones, because I think I'm on 49 million of those probably for various things I've said. We'll be back. We've got one more segment, and we're going to go back to the phones here in just a moment. And maybe we'll have, we're not going to have, who am I kidding? We've been trying to get through stories, but we've had so many great callers tonight that it makes it tough. That's okay. Don't let that dissuade you. We love to hear what's on your mind. 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Dynavite is nutrition.
Pick up 2 bottles of Lico Chops. Get the 3rd bottle free.
New improved Lico Chops with omega-3, omega-6, vitamin E.
And now, 6 extra direct-fed microbials.
Even better for the digestive tract and immune system.
Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Heart-related health problems affect millions of people each year. Maybe you're one of the many who suffer from issues related to angina pain, high blood pressure, congestive heart failure, unbalanced cholesterol, irregular heartbeat, or clogged arteries. There is a solution that doesn't involve expensive prescription drugs that only mask the problem and leave you with horrible side effects. If you are ready to live your life free of sickness, pain, and fear, live your life with increased vitality, energy, and youthfulness, and experience your body healing itself, then you're ready for Heart and Body Extract from Healthy Hearts Club. Here is what one satisfied customer had to say about Heart and Body Extract regarding his angina pain.
I haven't had an angina pain since I've been on it. The Heart Body Extract is just so great. I thank God that I was led to this product that's doing so much for me and that can do so much for other people.
Call to order your 2-month supply of Heart and Body Extract today. Call 1-866-295-5305 or go to hbextract.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. I would say you could reach us on Discord, but we're having problems with Discord, dang it. And I like taking Discord calls because our Discord chat rooms at discord.lrn.fm are always hopping, and we get some great calls out of there.
And douchebags.
Good, yeah,
the chat room.
We do.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, like, I didn't even.
Some people will.
I barely said anything last segment, and then I look and there's like people like Vince. I can't repeat it on the radio, and it's like, what? Is it my accent? Is it my hair? Are you jealous?
No.
I think we're jealous. They hate me because they hate me.
Our favorite is whenever Ari is on the show, they just state the obvious over and over again. They're like, "Wow, your hair is really red. Did you know you're really a boy?" And they just like, "Is that a?" Did you know there's a trans person on your show? And they just
never knew. You never noticed.
Just over and over and over again, they just state the obvious.
I would
think
that would be
that's a guy dressed as a girl. And it's like, wait.
I mean, if they were creative, I would appreciate it if they were more creative with me. Then, you know.
Aria is more creative with anti-transgender jokes than they are.
Oh, I bet. But we do have one more caller on the line. Bad Slave, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Oh, cool. Chris, thank you. And I want to compliment you on taking over as captain of the ship here. And
All right. Thank you for your call. No, I'm just kidding. That was a joke, okay?
Yeah. Well, Ian might do that, but you wouldn't. I wanted to talk about abortion, and one of the first things I want to say, if I ever, come across a woman who's interested in having an abortion, is I want to ask the woman, does that life have any value?
Right.
Period.
Any value at all?
What I mean? Just start from there, and you can work on that. But I think that one of the really biggest, root problems of the abortion problem is that the puritanical nature of people who want to vilify you because you find yourself pregnant when you don't want to be.
So you think it's pure? So I guess I've thought this through a couple different ways. There is this sex bad woman have sex. She must be a tramp and a harlot, and just resolve it. But then there's the other aspect of it is no. This is liberating. This is giving women control over their bodies, and that was something women never had. Either way, I disagree with it.
There are all kinds of things that happen to your body that you lose control of them. It might be just a bad bout of diarrhea. You gotta bear with it. And I think that the reason that people don't bear with it is because that not because it's intolerable. I mean, there's all kinds of some people have worse pregnancies and some people
Sure.
have better. Now, I didn't have to suffer through it myself, but I did have two children, with my first and only wife.
Right. And if you're along for the ride, then you're going through it to a lesser degree, but you're still going through it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And we decided to have home births, actually, which, I was so pleased we were able to do. So I'm just saying that those few months out of somebody's life, the second and third trimester, and I think that another thing is that that technology ought to be able to develop a viable fetal transplant.
Well,
I mean?
Technology is an interesting thing, and that's one of those things that, depending on which side you're on, it moves the goalposts. Because children, infants, fetuses are becoming viable earlier and earlier and earlier, and it's not going to be long before something that started out as not being a test tube baby could certainly become a test tube baby.
I don't know this stat, but it occurs to me that there are numerous families out there that just can't make babies themselves, and would be happy to become an adoptive parent. And I just let's go with that, and because I think we're not as far away from losing the advantage human life has had of always having more and more people. Because I think that the trends are towards what's the religious group that doesn't have kids that just basically recently died off.
That would be the inevitability of that religious. Hey, Bad Slave, thanks for the call. It's a good question, though. I mean, as life becomes more viable, I just cannot think that we're at a point where we've done everything we have done in our history so far. We know that this is the result of having people out of the blue somebody has a great idea and it advances our civilization and everybody benefits. To me, it's just, would you really want to roll the dice that baby that you're aborting is a new Einstein, has got some way, he's got the cure for cancer wrapped up in those little tiny legs. I mean, are you willing to take that bet? I'm not willing to take that bet. And I think that they do have, every living being has some level of liberty that they are entitled to.
There's a popular story that's been going around for the last couple of weeks. Basically what it states is that the American public is not breeding at a high enough rate to sustain itself.
Mm-hmm.
From 2012 to 2014, there were 285,000 abortions done in the state of New York. In that same time period, there were 230,000 children that were pregnancies that were taken to full term.
Right.
So
abortions outpaced.
I think I found the leak. I think I figured out why we're not making enough people to sustain the culture.
These are the same type, or these are the same types, in my experience, who also complain about like environmental issues and overpopulation and everything.
Yeah. And that was the biggest bunk. I lived through that stuff in the 80s, the late great Planet Earth and all these scare tactics about how, we were going to run out of food. We're not going to be able to feed people. We're going to have mass starvation. We're going to have
ended like 5 times already. We just missed it.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, like global warming roasted us all, and we were just recreated. And
this is after global cooling froze us all.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Well, I will say that I think in resource consumption and overpopulation and how interacting with nature is an important issue, and although like one way to control it isn't through encouraging abortion or subsidizing birth control, it's to end the the Federal Reserve System, because by creating imaginary money, it creates resources, and it's a difficult explanation.
No, I understand where you're going. If you allow markets to operate freely with honest money, which means you're not manipulating it and you're not creating artificial things like inflation that we all suffer through, then you're going to get more advancement, because that puts more resources into the hands of people. And, you go back into the 70s on forward through all these, doomsday scenarios of everything that was going to happen because our world is only big enough. And there's no way. Peak oil came along. Then guess what happened? Fracking. All these things that they always tell us, we're about to run out of this. We keep finding out more ways to do things.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't even hit the asteroid belt yet. You believe that?
I don't think we're going to make it that far.
You don't think so?
No.
You think the end will be nigh?
Well, yeah, I think from everything I've been seeing, I think I guess to tie this all back to Israel in some creepy, weird way, I do think Revelation is going to, I do believe that. I mean, and I don't think there's going to be space travel or Star Trek stuff.
Do you think people have been thinking that for the last millennia?
Well, 2,000 years is just according to some people who believe in certain dating strategies, 2,000 years is just a blink of an eye.
I hear you. Well, that's all we've got for you tonight on Free Talk Live. This has been Chris,
Vincent,
and Will.
And we hope to see you next time. 855-450-FREE if you want to call in and be part of the fun. Free Talk Live.
If you're looking for work, it's a process of elimination, and you're trying not to be eliminated. So here's a tip for making the cut, and this might seem subtle, but to the person interviewing you, it's not. There is a world of difference between applicants who convey, "I need a job," and those who simply ooze, "I want to work," especially in these lean times when many you're competing with will seem desperate in "I'll take anything" mode. If you convey specific interest in this job at this company, you will be conspicuous. Thus, the value of going to school on the company you're applying to before the interview. With money and attention so tight now, effective communication skills have never been more important. For more tips for job seekers and everyone else, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. The LRN.FM's social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
The Torchwood Report is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your Liberty Beat for Wednesday, February 6, 2019. Gold opened today at $1,314. Silver opened at $15.74. And Bitcoin is trading around $3,365. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, peace activists with the group Code Pink arrived at the home of National Security Advisor John Bolton early Tuesday morning to deliver a symbolic indictment for his participation in war crimes against the people of Venezuela, Palestine, Iran, and Iraq.
We, the people, call you a war criminal, and we call on the International Criminal Court to begin a case against you, John Bolton.
According to the Mind Unleashed, Bolton is a notorious neoconservative who held various positions under former presidents Ronald Reagan, George H.W. Bush, and George W. Bush, before being tapped by President Donald Trump. As one of Trump's top advisors on foreign policy issues, Bolton has played a key role in the current administration's decisions, from ditching the Iran nuclear deal last summer to pushing for regime change in Venezuela, an effort which is ongoing. With police on the scene, the group chanted, "Take John Bolton to The Hague," and John Bolton is a war criminal. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% at checkout by using promo code SNLS. This is the Liberty Beat for Wednesday, February 6, 2019. Your news continues. Despite having touted a plan to withdraw U.S. troops from Syria as recently as Sunday, the U.S. military appears to be doing the complete opposite and is instead dramatically increasing the number of U.S. troops illegally stationed in northeastern Syria. Mint-Press News reports that a convoy of an estimated 150 trucks and armored vehicles entered northeastern Syria from Iraq Monday night, crossing the Summit checkpoint into U.S.-occupied Syria. The convoy then arrived at a U.S. military logistics center in Syria's Karab Ishq in Sirin on Tuesday. Al-Mastar reported that footage of the convoy had also been posted on social media, showing generators, construction equipment, Humvees, and large trucks. The U.S. is currently occupying nearly 30% of Syrian territory, an area that contains the vast majority of Syria's oil and gas potential, as well as most of its freshwater resources. In a report published Tuesday night, just before President Trump began his State of the Union address, the Washington Post revealed it has discovered a document where 2020 Democratic presidential contender Elizabeth Warren, who was exposed by a DNA test that backfired late last year for having a negligible amount of Native American heritage, listed her race as American Indian on a registration card on a Texas state bar in the mid-1980s. The card lists Warren's name, gender, and address for the University of Texas Law School in Austin, where she was working at the time. On the line for race, Warren wrote American Indian. Meanwhile, lines for national origin and physical handicap were left blank. As the Washington Post report explains, the card is significant because for the first time it shows that Warren directly claimed the identity. According to the report, the card, dated April 1986, is the first document to surface showing Warren claiming Native American heritage in her own handwriting. Her office did not deny the authenticity of the document. The newspaper obtained the card through an open records request. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for this Wednesday, February 6, 2019. Reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
A flash flood warning is in effect, and authorities are asking people to stay indoors and avoid the roads.
We are urging everyone to seek shelter. Remember, being carried away by this storm is very different from the joy of being carried by Bogdan and seeing for miles from his shoulders.
The typhoon is predicted to hit the South Carolina coast the hardest. Chad Williams is live on the scene now. The wind looks pretty strong out there, Chad.
Barely. But it is nothing compared to Bogdan.
So people in South Carolina aren't worried?
No, they laugh at the storm. They are piling sandbags to stop the water. Would mere sand stop Bogdan?
But there is real danger. Authorities say that 3 people were killed outside of Charleston when their car was washed into a ravine.
And in that we have proof. The storm has failed the true test of strength. Bogdan's greatest power is his gentle heart. Bogdan would never hurl a car full of people into a ravine.
So from what you're seeing out there, real strength lies within?
Yes. This storm, like all else, is weaker than Bogdan.
This is the Onion News Network.
About the dexterous sentient hand prosthesis.
Well, what do you think of that?
To close out the show.
No, it's not bad. It would be like really simple and mobile, but it'll end up like it's gonna have weird stuff. I have a strategy. Everything that gets produced.
Oh crap, we're on. Good evening and welcome to the Torchwood Report. I am the one true Niz. Here this evening, joined by Mr. Paul Gordon. And just a little quick announcement. This broadcast is covered by the Vipcot No Government License. That means that you are free to use or rebroadcast portions or segments of this show so long as you are not an agent or advocate for government. If you fail to heed this warning, you will be socially shamed. For more information, please visit bipcot.org. That's BIPCOT.org. So, Paul, the Super Nazi Bowl. Did you watch Super Bowl this year? The Super Nazi Bowl.
I did not watch the Super Bowl.
Leftists in absolute freaking incredible outrage over the fact that the Patriots won.
Joined them in their hatred of the Patriots.
It just made me like them more. Like I hate
Tom Brady. No, Tom Brady. No,
you have to give it to Brady, dude. He is truly the GOAT, dude. He like him or hate him, he honestly is.
Oh, he is what he is. I'll just say he is what he is, and I'll leave it at that because
right on. So the left was super fired up, and I'm not. I don't know if you had the opportunity or if you even desired to go on Twitter and actually look at the insane freaking ramblings that came out after, like, this is what you get in Trump's America. Racists win the Super Bowl.
I saw like some of it, and it was like, to me it was like doggy doo like the doggy doo that's been there for like maybe like a day and a half. It's not whitened yet. It's not hard.
Yeah, it doesn't have those pin molds growing out of it yet.
It's still a little mushy, and I'm like, no, I'm